If you're an avid watcher of horror films, or perhaps even religious yourself, you'll probably know what an exorcism is. But if you're not particularly keen on horror movies, or not religious, then you might not be so knowledgeable on what it is. Essentially, an exorcism removes any evil entity or demon from a person or an area that's thought to be possessed. And while some people aren't entirely convinced that exorcisms are actually real, they have happened in real life, often with tragic consequences. Exorcisms are actually on the rise, with statistics showing that more and more people are seeking divine help. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 chilling and interesting exorcism stories. The Exorcism of Anna Eklund. Our first story starts with Anna Eklund. Anna Eklund's name wasn't actually her name. She was born under the name of Emma Schmidt in 1882. However, Anna Eklund was a pseudonym for Emma Schmidt. Eklund's case is well documented amongst demonologists and those who believe in the spirit world. In fact, in 1936, the case was profiled in Time magazine. Anna Eklund's case was out of the ordinary. It was strange, even for an exorcism. Born to German parents in Wisconsin, Eklund's family were devout Catholics. Strangely, her Aunt Mina was thought to be a witch, and this is where the family's thoughts would wander when Eklund began to act abnormally. She allegedly started demonstrating revulsion of holy objects and was unable to enter churches. Apparently, she also began to partake in some unspeakable acts, and some who have studied the case believe she may have been ill-treated by her father. However, it wasn't until 1912 that Eklund underwent her first exorcism. The family believed that she'd actually been possessed by the spirit of her aunt, who had cursed the herbs that had been seasoning Eklund's food with. In 1912, Father Theophilus Reisinger, a priest originally from Bavaria, Germany, was instructed with the responsibility. This was of performing Eklund's exorcism. It was done quite uneventfully, as exorcisms go, and nothing was heard of Eklund for some years after that. But unbeknownst to the church, Eklund hadn't been effectively exorcised. Over 2 decades later, Father Reisinger was once again summoned. This time, he brought Anna Eklund to a secluded church in a small village and began to try to cleanse her body of the suspected demonic possession of her aunt. This is where it got complicated for Anna Eklund. It was suspected the first and second exorcism didn't work. It was said that it actually took 23 consecutive days of exorcism to clear the evil from Eklund, and some disturbing things happened during it. Anna Eklund apparently vomited tobacco leaves and began speaking in multiple different languages and spoke in the voice of her deceased Aunt Mina. Her behaviour was so violent that many nuns who assisted in the exorcism actually asked to move away. Furthermore, the priest believed she'd been possessed by multiple people. On the 23rd day, Father Reisinger attempted one final exorcism, ordering the demons to depart hell in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Suddenly, Anna Eklund awoke. She claimed, "They are gone," and then collapsed. Upon awakening, Eklund was freed from the church and went on to apparently live a quiet, demon-free life under a new name. Salvador Dali's exorcism. Salvador Dali was one of the greatest artists of the 20th century. Amongst his most famous works are the Lobster Telephone, presently at the National Gallery of Modern Art in Scotland, the Persistence of Memory, which has been displayed at the Museum of Modern Art in New York since 1934, and the Burning Giraffe at the Fine Arts Museum. Dali was born in Catalonia, and was an esteemed but slightly controversial painter. Upon his return to Spain in 1948, after time abroad in France and America, he developed a style. This was known as nuclear mysticism and was based on science and the classical period. For a man who was supposedly so taken by science, he was also a devout Catholic. At some point in the 1940s, between his time in America and then his return to Spain, Dali allegedly experienced the wrong side of Catholicism. Many didn't know, but the esteemed painter believed he was possessed and ordered a priest to exorcise him. We don't know exactly what happened to Dali during the exorcism, or even if it helped in any way. However, many are unsure if he was even possessed in the first place. However, we do know the exorcism took place, and for some time afterwards, many of Dali's paintings involved religion in some way. After the priest emigrated to France, the sculpture was left behind and remained in his basement. It was recently discovered by his family, who were sifting through the father's belongings in his home. This made it likely the exorcism did in fact happen. The alleged truth about exorcisms. Some may say that demons or other spiritual entities possessing a human is very unbelievable and a rather unconvincing event. However, we can't ignore the stories which have been told about exorcisms. According to many priests, exorcisms can be extremely dangerous. Father Barry May has performed many exorcisms during his time. In an interview with ABC News Australia, he shared some stories on the creepy and frightening experience that exorcisms are. Father May explained that during some exorcisms he had performed, he's been yelled and shouted at, grabbed and sworn at, and has been assaulted. He's also described he's had people try to rip his crucifix from around his neck and try to scratch his eyes out. He expressed that he gets it all the time during an exorcism. Father May has been through quite a lot while performing these cleansing rituals. Although he says the green vomiting and head spinning isn't real and is what you mostly see in movies, but the violent screams and voices are real. Father May first forayed into the darker side of religion when a woman at a funeral he was conducting asked him if he believed in ghosts. He thought it was a rather strange question to ask. But when the woman claimed she thought her house was also inhabited by a ghost, he continued the conversation. This sparked Father May's interest in exorcism, and even though he's carried out dozens of these devilish practices, some stand out more than others. He revealed one which has stayed with him, that was from a 23-year-old woman. He remembers saying to her, "Are you free yet?" She kept repeating, "No, I'm not," in her own voice. He explained it took hours to deliver her. He stated that as soon as he said, "Spirit, reveal yourself," she would growl and cross her eyes. He believed she threw about 12 demons out until she was free. The Catholic Church recognizes a few different types of exorcism, including both minor and major. Minor exorcisms usually involve the cross, holy water, and some raised voices in a holy place. Generally, this is enough to drive the spirit from the affected body. Nonetheless, major exorcisms can sometimes take place. These only occur in extreme circumstances, and the afflicted has to undergo major investigation and examination before the exorcism. Whilst exorcisms can thrust the demon straight out of somebody, there's a chance they can manifest into another person in the room. Some Catholic ministers attribute cases of possession to people who have been meddling with things they shouldn't have been getting involved with. For example, those who dabble in the paranormal and own things they shouldn't own are at increased risk of possession. Religion is a complicated thing for some, and healing or support process for many. It's neither right nor wrong to be religious, and it's okay to believe in whatever you want to. For those who are skeptical, however, the darker side of religion can and has had unintended consequences. So next time you think about exploring that haunted building or buying that ghostly artifact, maybe think twice. So what do you make of these interesting and creepy exorcisms? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community, whilst working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.